All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media, and my name is Judson Powell. All right, and as some of y'all know, I am a Kemetic priest, as well as all my other stuff that I do. But I don't really do a lot of teaching and stuff like that anymore, and so my sister called me and she was like, why aren't you teaching, and why aren't you doing this? And she was asking me some questions, and she also does some metaphysical teaching, especially in the areas of astrology and meditation. And I'm not talking about like that play astrology stuff. I'm talking about like relationship astrology, that type of stuff where because technically all of the metaphysical disciplines are designed to make our lives easier, which is what people that are in religion don't want us to do, because obviously if you get into religion, then you never get healed. And so they don't want you to be healed. Because why? Because they're making money off of you, or there's something you got to do, and there's always a hoop you got to jump through, a hurdle to leap over, or something. There's always something else that you got to do before you get this enlightenment, or you get this so-called breakthrough, or whatever it is, or before you can practice whatever it is. And so, and she was asking me, she was like, well, what do you think right now? And so, and I prophesied to her, because that's one of the things I do also, I prophesy. And so I prophesied to her like months ago about all of this stuff that's actually going on in the Middle East and everything. And I just was like telling her, like, you gotta, my thing to her was float through it, just float through it, because all of this stuff it has to happen. There's nothing you can really do about it. So, just mind your business and float through it. So that's kind of what I said. And so, so a lot of people are like, well, that's a cop out or whatever. And I was like, well, it's not really a cop out. What it is just telling the truth. And so we got into the thing about, well, what about the whole religion thing? And I said, the reason why I got out of religion, and I was a pastor, I ran ministries, and I still believe, don't get me wrong, I still believe in ministry. There are people out there that are homeless. There are people out there that are hungry. There are people out there that are spiritually hurt, and all these other things that are going on in our society all over the world, not just here in the United States, but all over the world and in the United States. Just like I've been telling people, there are like 120,000 in New York City. There are 120,000 homeless school children. There are about 60,000 I think it was 60 or 65,000 homeless school children in Los Angeles County. Okay, so we're talking about, and that's just, to sum it up for like larger cities or whatever, but there's almost 1 million children in the United States that are, we're talking about the thing that's going on in Gaza. Well, we're not even thinking about all of the children that we're causing suffering to. And then we got politicians trying to cut school lunch programs and cut food stamps and all of these different things. And we got all of these people, and that's just the children. We're not even talking about the adults who don't know where their next meal comes from, or they're out on the street unhoused. All right. So, so I guess what I always, I'm like, wake up. And the other thing about all of this stuff is so she says, so what have you been teaching? And I said, the only thing that I will teach is to get out of your base or your root chakra, because people don't want to believe in that stuff, but it's true, because that's what the powers that be, they want you to stay in your root chakra. That's where they want you. They want you in your lowest possible vibration. And that's why, we got this brother right now, D1 Music, coming out against the rap industry and all of that kind of stuff. Well, the reason why that's happening is because, and like I said, there have been people that have been saying this for years, and I'm not trying to act like I was always on the bandwagon, because there was a time in my radio and television career when I pushed that kind of music as well. When I pushed, music that was misogynist, music that was promoting the use of drugs and the abuse of drugs and the use and abuse of alcohol. And so I did it. I'm gonna be honest, but that was the only way that I could get paid. And so, well, it wasn't the only way, but it was the way I was getting paid. So I just felt like it was just a job. I go to work, I come home, I do what I got to do, and everything is everything. And that's the way I felt. But now I realize, after becoming a spiritual person and understanding meditation and the metaphysical disciplines that I have studied, I understand that all of this is by design in order to keep you in your lower chakras. All right. They do not want you to become enlightened. They don't want you to get up to your crown chakra, which is literally in a spiritual level. That is actually, for everybody that walks around and talk about Christ, that's the Christ state. That is the Christ-like state. But it's not Jesus Christ. It is you. It's whoever. And I always tell people, say your name, and then I'm Judson Christ. That's what I am. All right, because I have to learn how to go up through all of those chakras, through my levels, till I get to that spiritual point. And then once I get to that spiritual point, just like so just like the Buddhists say that the divine in me recognizes or sees the divine in you. And that's the point that we have to get to. And the reason why we got all this conflict and wars and everything that's going on in the world is because people don't see the divine in each other. We're not looking at each other as being God or being divine. We're looking at each other at the lowest level. And I always talk about how, like, think about it. Your root chakra, your base chakra, everything happens right there, right? Birth, using the bathroom, stuff like that. All of the messy stuff in life, it all happens down there. And the other thing, and it doesn't take any knowledge or wisdom to make it happen. That's how come a teenager can go off and get pregnant, because all they got to do is go through because they're in a physical thing. And the same thing. So that's why, they try to over sexualize everything with the twerking and with all of the, or they break things down to, I just want things that you want. That's why they show you cars and houses and all of this kind of stuff, because you got to realize that the ancients didn't have money. There was no, in our ancient civilizations, Kush, Kemet, Ethiopia, all of those, there was no money. Money didn't come around until thousands of years after our civilizations had been there. And even when it came around, money was not valuable. It just wasn't. It wasn't valuable. In fact, if you look at and you go through the history of the richest man that ever lived, Manu Musa, in his kingdom, money was very secondary. In fact, if you were a farmer and you had food was more valuable than money. I mean, go read it. Go study. That's why I keep telling people, look, go study and find out, because all of these things, slavery, money, all of those things, they were created so that the whole white supremacy, power and control mechanisms could be, done. And the same thing with religion. All of the religions are man-made, every single one of them. And they're man-made so that they can assert power and control over you. And by saying, okay, this is wrong, this is right, this is this and that. And that's why, but being Kemetic, I subscribe to the 42 negative confessions of Ma'at, all right? but they're not laws. And that's what people don't, but everybody tries to talk about them as laws, or they try to say, oh, well, y'all are polytheistic. No, we're not. All of the things that we talk about, they're all you. They're all inside of you. You can be a whole, there's your personality, your soul, everything has all of these different facets to it. You're not one dimensional. But religion tries to make you one dimensional and then try to boil everything down to your sin or the bad things that you do. But what about all of the, if you live 70, what is that? The life expectancy, I think, is like 77 years. If you live 77 years, you're not just going to do, bad things. You're going to do good things as well. So that's why, we try to look at it, and those are negative confessions. Those are saying, look, this is on me. And that's what they, know thyself, and to thine own self be true. Because that's where it's like you're playing golf. You're playing golf. You're playing against yourself. You're not playing against anybody else, even though there are other people on the field, out there playing. But the bottom line is they're not swinging the club for you. If anybody really understands how golf works, right? So when you look at those type of things, it's not a competition. It is, and if there is a competition, it's a competition between you and between your lower self and your higher self. So that's why we say all of those facets of the quote unquote what the Greeks and Romans and Europeans tried to say were gods. Those are not gods. They're you. Christ is you. Everything that's in that book, who can open the seventh seal? I can. Why can I open it? Because it's my seal. Go, and I'm telling you, go and really start to study and look up. And then the other thing is, the world does not they value a college education, but they do not value a metaphysical education or a common sense education. All of the things that they should be teaching you, they don't teach you. And some of them are very simple. And the reason why they don't teach you is because it'll give you power over yourself. And the biggest mistake that everybody makes is thinking that you don't have any power when you do. You're the most powerful person in your sphere, you. So that's what and so I constantly tell you, everything in the world is designed to keep you down and keep you at that base chakra. So like I said, so they're going to use sexuality, they're going to use materialism, they're going to use fear, jealousy, envy, all of those negative things, in order to keep you down. Or in order to make you want and desire things that really are unimportant to your existence in the way that you live. And so that's why I stopped teaching, because everybody wants to be like this, that. I say, look, it's your deal. I can't tell you how to live your life. I can't tell you. And the other thing is, and when you transition from the physical into the spiritual realm, which we are all going to do, you're gonna leave at some point. Your soul and your spirit is going to leave your body and is going to go someplace else. It's going to happen. So our journey here on earth is to figure that out. And not to figure out exactly where you're going, but at least be able to navigate it. Because what? Because we are spirits on a human journey. This, we know that. Look at it, like you look at a dead person and after their soul has left their body, you look at them, they're not there. They're not there anymore. And eventually that's going to happen to us all. But But the spiritual disciplines teach us how to be able to cope with the physical presence inside of the body. Anyway, fastest 15 minutes is up. My name is Judson Powell. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons, but most of all, hit the love button. I love all of y'all.